this computer. Okay. Okay, we're gonna get started seated in a gentle cross-legged position. So we're just gonna find the pattern of our breath here. So take one hand and place it on your chest near your heart, and take the other hand and place it just on your belly, maybe right above your belly button. You can close your eyes if you want, and just feel how your chest, your torso moves as you inhale and exhale. Don't try to regulate your breath too much yet, just feel how it is naturally in your body right now. Okay, so we're gonna start sort of counting the breath. So we're gonna take a 4-count inhale. On count 5, just hold, and then we'll take a 4-count exhale. On count 5, hold. And we'll do that a couple of times, and I'll count you through it. So we're inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, holding 5, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, holding 5. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, holding 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep that pattern up. I'm going to stop counting. You keep breathing with that pattern, and I'm just going to check in with you. I just noticed when I was doing that I was holding a lot of tension in my shoulders, and I felt them sort of rise up towards my ears. So check in with parts of your body to see where you're gripping and see if it's possible to release that. Also, feel free to exhale out of the mouth and make any sort of sound. On your next exhale, just release the hands to the side, palms facing up, elbows extended. We're going to inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, lower them back down. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. This time as we exhale, we're going to twist towards the right. So bringing the left hand to the right side of the body, maybe to the knee if you've got that flexibility in your spine. And just feeling a gentle twist. No need to feel like you have to twist your spine to make a full 180. Just gentle. Notice if you are gripping in the left side of your body, so your left glute, or letting that left hip come up. See if you can release all of that. It might mean that you have to unwind yourself a little bit, have less of a deep twist, and that's okay. Keep finding your breath here, inhaling and exhaling. On your next inhale, we're gonna come back to the center with the arms up. And lower the arms by the side. Inhale the arms up. You can start to lift in your chest and your gaze here if you'd like. Exhale the arms down. Inhale the arms up. This time on the exhale, we're twisting towards the left side, bringing the right hand towards the left knee. And then checking in with the right side, if you feel any gripping in the right glutes, or if you feel your right hip lifting, try to release that. And on your next inhale, we're coming back up to the center with the arms coming up. This time, exhale the hands into prayer, just right in front of your chest. Taking a couple of inhales and exhales here as well. So if you're seated in this cross-leg shape, go ahead and switch so that the opposite leg is now in front, and we're gonna do that same inhale, exhale with the twist. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale, twist towards the right side. Continue to breathe here. On your next inhale, bring the arms up, torso facing forward. Exhale, twisting towards the left side. One more twist on each side. Inhale, bringing the arms up. Exhale, spiraling to the right side. Inhaling with the arms up. And exhale, spiral left. And inhaling the arms up. Exhale as you bring the palms together. Prayer in front of your chest. And just bow the head a little bit, so think chin to chest here. Continuing to breathe. And release the hands down. I'm gonna have to shift on my mat, depending on how you're sitting. You might need to do this as well for your comfort, but we're just going to send the hands forward so that we find ourselves in this tabletop position. So wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Just feel yourself sort of lifting up and away from the mat. So feeling your scapula, your shoulder blades sort of pulling away from each other so that you find a lot of space in your upper back. Finding a long spine, thinking about length from the crown of your head through your tailbone. And we're gonna inhale as we shift the spine. So lifting the front of the chest up and forward. And exhale as we find the opposite curve. So thinking belly button to spine, which is reaching up to the ceiling, and our head is now tilted down as we exhale. Inhaling, doing the opposite of that curve, so sending the belly button to the mat, opening in the front body. Exhale. find the other curve. Inhale into our, this is called cow position. So inhaling, cow. Exhale, cat. And then find your neutral spine. So just your flat tabletop. We're gonna do that again, but we're gonna reverse the breath. So this time we're gonna inhale on the cat and exhale on the cow. So we're gonna inhale, send the belly button to the spine. Hips are curving under and down. Exhale, releasing that. Belly button is going towards the mat, chest is opening. Inhaling, cat. Exhale, cow. One more of those. Inhaling, cat. Exhale, cow. Then coming to your tabletop and just send your hips back towards your heels. So just take a little bit of a break in child's pose here. Continuing to breathe, noticing your inhales and exhales, and how that breath moves throughout your entire body. So breath doesn't only happen in the ribs or at the chest. It expands into all parts of you, all of your limbs, into your hips, into your neck and your head. So see if you can feel your breath sort of vibrating through all parts of your body. Take an inhale, and on your next exhale, push yourself back into that tabletop position. We're gonna thread the needle with our arms. And so on our next inhale, we're gonna lift the left hand and find a little bit of a spiral towards the left side. And on your exhale, bend that elbow, send the hand underneath the right arm, and let your left shoulder come to the ground. So our hips are up in the air. Our right palm is still pressed into the ground. Our left shoulder is finding the floor as well. And if that's really uncomfortable for you, you can do a little modification here where you're not putting your shoulder on the ground, but just reaching the palm through and still finding a little bit of a twist. Continuing to breathe in this shape wherever you are. And then we're going to press into the palms of the right hand to inhale the left arm back, out, and up. So finding a little bit of a spiral to the left. And exhale, thread it through back to the same shape towards the right. Take a few breaths here. On your next inhale, we'll do the same. Inhaling, bringing the left arm up. And exhale, thread it through. And we're going to hold this one for a little bit longer. If you want to get really fancy, you can release the right hand up to the sky or bend that elbow so that the hand comes to the low back and find the opening through your shoulders. So your chest is spiraling forward and open towards the ceiling. But you don't have to do that. You can stay in the initial original shape if you'd like. Just one more breath here. On your next inhale, we'll do that same lift and open to the left. And this time on our exhale, we'll just come back to tabletop, send the hips back. We're gonna hang out in child's pose for another couple of seconds here, giving your right shoulder a bit of a break. You can even choose to bring the hands behind the hips, reaching towards the feet if you'd like, and letting your shoulders really curve over the knees and fall towards the mat. All right, inhaling, and on your next exhale, come back into your tabletop position. We're gonna do that same sequence, but with the other side. So we're gonna inhale the right arm out and up, and exhale, thread it through towards the left side. Again, doing whatever feels great for you. If you can lower down onto that right shoulder, that's great. If you can't do that and you want to just reach that arm as much as you can, that is also really great. Breathing here for a couple of breaths. On your next inhale, press into the left palm to come up and bring the right arm up and open towards the ceiling, and exhale, thread it through. Continuing to breathe here. Inhale, pressing up, opening the right arm. Exhale, threading it through, and this time we'll hold it for a little bit longer. And again, if you want to modify this for a bit of a deeper stretch, you can take the left hand off of the mat, lift it towards the ceiling, or bend the elbow so that your hand finds your low back, and rotate those shoulders so that the chest is as open as possible. And then if you chose to do that extra little step, bring the left palm back to the mat. Take an inhale to open towards the right side one more time, and exhale back into your tabletop, sending the hips backwards into child's pose. And again, feeling your breath, and choosing to either have your fingertips forward and in front of you, or rounding them behind you so that your shoulders curve over your knees and you find yourself in a little turtle shape. If you turned into a little turtle and your hands are behind you, go ahead and bring them in front so your palms are reaching, fingertips reaching forward in front of you. And we're gonna inhale and exhale, come into tabletop one last time. Take an inhale there. Exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips backwards and up into a downward facing dog. Just hang out here for a couple of breaths. You can choose to pedal the feet and bend the knees gently here if you'd like. You can shift the hips from left to right, whatever feels good in your body right now. Continuing to breathe. If you can, really spread your fingers wide away from each other and feel your the insides of your elbows really rotating forward. And then just gently walk your feet forward towards your hands. Your knees can be bent here in our forward fold. They don't need to be straightened. Feeling your spine release so that the head, the crown of the head is really pointing as much towards the ground as possible. Then we're slowly going to roll up through the spine, so you can even use your hands to press into your shins to help you roll up, moving the hands up through the thighs. If you need, finding them onto your hips here as we're completely upright. I'm just going to turn so that you can see the front of me, but you don't need to turn. We're going to take an inhale. Arms are coming up. Exhale, palms together. Bringing them in prayer just right above your chest. Releasing the hands. Inhale, they come up. Exhale, palms together. In front of your chest. Release them by your side. Inhale, bring the arms up. And I'm just going to bend a little bit so that you can see the tops of my fingers, but you don't do this. So you're still standing upright. You're just going to grasp your fingers around each other and make a little steeple with your pointer fingers here. And as you inhale, you're going to send your hips towards the left and let the fingertips go towards the right. Exhale, come back to the center. You're going to inhale and go to the other side. Hips are going to the right, fingertips are going to the left. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, first side. Exhale, center. One more quick one. Inhale to the other side. Exhale, center. Inhale, we're going to the first side, and we're going to hold this one for a little bit longer, seeing if you can find space from shoulder to shoulder. So if you find that you are curving and your top shoulder is going towards the ground, just lessen your tilt a little bit and see if you can then find a little bit more space. So you don't have to be all the way over, just as much as you can with that shoulder staying upright. And on your next exhale, come back up. Inhale towards the other side. Again, thinking about that shoulder staying open. We're tilted only as much as we can with that shoulder staying open. And on your next exhale, come back to the center. Find that prayer shape with your palms in your hands. We're going to lower down. Release the palms. Just shake yourself out a little bit. That might have been a little tough. And we're going to do it again. So this time, as we join the fingertips above our head, we're going to find the opposite clasp, okay? So whatever you were doing with your fingers before, if your left hand was over your right hand, you're going to switch that so that your right hand is over your left. Yeah. Bringing the hands to the side. Inhale the arms up. Finding that opposite clasp in your steeple hands. To exhale. Inhale, tilting towards the right. So sending the hips to the left, tilt towards the right. Exhaling back into the center. Inhale to the other side. Hips are going right, fingers are going left. Exhale, center. One more on each side quickly. Inhale, first side. Exhale, center. And one more quick one. Inhale. exhale. This time we're gonna stay in those shapes a little bit longer. Inhale, sending the hips to the left, hands to the right, finding the space in the shoulders. Continuing to breathe here. On your next exhale, finding center upright. And inhaling towards the other side, finding the space in your shoulders. Continuing to breathe. On your next exhale, returning to the center, palms together in prayer pose to come forward in front of your chest. Let's just take a couple of breaths here. Inhale. Releasing the palms down by your side and shake it out. That was probably really intense on your spine, on your erector spinae, as we call these muscles that are on the back of your spine that go all the way up. Okay, we're shaking out a little bit, finding the loose muscles, loose joints, just whatever you need right now. This might be a little bit of a smaller exploration for you, so it might just be in the joints, the small, tiny shifts, or it can be really big. Just getting a little weird and groovy for a couple of seconds before we get back into the rest of our sequence. Okay, let that go. We're gonna go into some sun salutations. So take a step towards the front of your mat. We're gonna find our heels underneath our hip bones, and I'm gonna face you for a second to just show you this with my toes. So go ahead and just lift your toes if you can and spread them away from each other if you've got that mobility and flexibility in your toes. And then release them down to the ground. So when we lift the toes like that, we're engaging the muscles that are on the inside of the leg, which helps make sure that we're not collapsing towards the center, which, as you can see, messes up the alignment of the knee, makes the hip tilt, everyone's out of balance. We want to try to make sure that doesn't happen. So anytime you feel when you're standing upright that you're a little out of whack, just try lifting your toes as a little reset. And you should be able to feel the little muscles, especially lower towards your ankles in the front of your calves here. You should be able to feel them sort of contracting and working when you lift your toes. So then as you release your toes, see if you can hold on to the power that was just there, yeah? Okay, so we're standing at the front of our mat. We're gonna inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, release them back to the side and forward fold at the hips. As we go into this full forward fold as much as you can, feel free to bend the knees if you need. Inhale, we're gonna come up to just a flat back shape. So extending long from the head through the tail. And exhale, we're gonna lower our hands to the ground, bending the knees. Send the right toes back and then the left toes back into plank. And we're gonna breathe here for a couple of seconds. Just as we had done when we were in tabletop, we're thinking about our shoulder blades moving away from each other to make a lot of space in the back. We're pressing away from the mat. And take one more inhale here. And as you exhale, we're lowering all the way down. Ooh. Untuck your toes, let the tops of your feet touch the mat. We're just going to do a very gentle little cobra here as we inhale. And then lower the front of your chest back down as you exhale. We're going to inhale, press into the palms to lift the shoulders, but send the hips backwards into child's pose. Taking a little break there for a second. Continuing to breathe here. Tuck your toes. On your next inhale, think about sending the head forward so that we're almost coming into our full tabletop. And then on your exhale, send the hips upward and back to walk yourself into downward dog again. Taking a couple of breaths here. Finding any gentle shifts that you need in your knees or your ankles or your hips. Continuing to breathe. And then slowly begin to walk your feet towards your hands. On your next inhale, as you're in this forward fold, come up to your tabletop halfway lift. Exhale, release into full forward fold, and we're going to inhale to lift the arms up to the side and bring us upright again. And as we get our hands all the way up, exhale, bring the palms together. Prayer, lowering the hands right in front of the chest. And releasing. And you might need to walk to the front of your mat again, like I do, but we're going to do that all again. So, taking an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands, sending the feet back, left first and then right. Take an inhale in your plank here. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, gentle cobra, releasing the feet. Exhale, going through the tabletop to get to the child's pose. Inhale, coming just a little bit upright into table, and then tucking the toes to exhale, send the hips back, find your downward dog. Keep breathing. And walking the feet towards the hands. On your next inhale, finding your flat back. Exhale, back down into forward fold. Inhale, arms are coming out to the side to help us come upright. Palms meet each other in prayer as we exhale. Bring them towards the center of the chest and release the fingers. Back up to the front of the mat. We're doing that again. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to go a little bit quicker this time. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, find your plank. Inhale in your plank. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, child's. Inhale, get ready for down dog. Exhale, into the down. Inhale, as you exhale, bring your feet forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bring the arms up to the side. Palms meet in prayer as you exhale, the hands down. Gonna continue that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, finding your plank. Inhale and plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, little cobra. Exhale into child's pose. Inhale, getting ready for down dog. Exhale into your down dog. Inhale. Exhale, walk the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, breathing the arms up. Exhale, releasing prayer in front of you, hands down. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, find your plank. Inhale in your plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, baby cove. Exhale, hips back into baby little child. Inhale, getting ready for down dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhaling here. Exhale to walk the feet forward towards the hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to scoop the hands up towards the side. And exhale, prayer in front of your chest. And we're gonna hold the hands there for a second, continuing to breathe. Inhale and exhale. We're going to release the hands to the side. This time as we inhale, we're going to lift the hands up. So similar to what we had done. Inhale, arms are up. Exhale, we're going to leave the arms there, bend the knees, and send the hips backwards and a little bit down so that we find our chair pose. So this is a really great place to check in with your toes, as I showed you a little bit earlier, to make sure that your knees aren't collapsing inwards as you do this. And we're just continuing to breathe here in our chair pose. Thinking about pressing the shoulders as open as possible here. And lifting the chest towards that high diagonal. You can even bring your focus there with your eyes. Keep breathing, keep breathing. On your next exhale, you're going to bring your hands to prayer in front of your chest. Take an inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to twist towards the right side. And if you are familiar with this shape and super flexible and ready to go into that deep bend, you can bend your knees even more to rest the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. And as those two places press against each other, that gives you some leverage to then open up your chest into a wide spiral towards the right side. If you're not ready to do that, from your chair pose, you can stay a little more upright, and that's okay too. Continue to breathe here. Taking in one last inhale here. On your exhale, just gently untwist yourself, release into that bent knee forward fold. And roll up through your spine. That should be the last thing to come up to get to standing. Take an inhale, bring the arms to the side. And as you exhale, just let the hands press onto the top of your head. So sometimes when I move through these sequences, I get a little dizzy. And I was once told that if you press down, if you clasp your fingers and press down on your head, it should help you not be dizzy. So if you felt dizzy like I did just now, hopefully this is helping. Okay, we're gonna do that again, and this time we're gonna twist to the other side, but we're gonna start with our chair pose. So we're standing, heels underneath hips. Inhale, bring the arms up. As you exhale, send the hips down and back, bend the knees. So we're giving a good bend in the knees as well as the hip flexors here. Finding your balance, again, making sure that the knees aren't collapsing in towards each other. Lifting the toes a little bit if you need to find that. Circling the shoulders back and down so that you're very open in your chest. Now on your next exhale, bring your palms together and to the chest and start to slowly rotate towards your left side. Choosing to stay here if you'd like, or finding a deeper bend in the knees and the hips so that your right elbow comes to the outside of your left knee. And as those 2 points press together, you should be able to find a little bit more opening and spiral in the chest and the shoulders towards your left side. Continuing to breathe here. And on your next exhale, just release that twist so that you're in a forward fold. And just slowly roll up through the spine to come standing upright. Again, inhaling the arms up and then pressing into the head if you got a little dizzy there. Just take a couple of breaths. Okay, release that. Let's just take some very gentle circles with the shoulder. So moving from front space to back space. And then let's do the opposite of those circles. So moving from back space to front space. And we're still standing with our feet underneath our hips. Go ahead and take your hands behind your back. I'm going to turn towards the back so that you can see this, but we're going to clasp our fingertips here. And we're going to imagine that there's just a tiny little brick that we're holding here. And that's going to just gently bring our hands a little bit closer towards the mat, which then extends so it opens up our chest towards the ceiling, our neck and chest. Oh, and then we drop the brick and come back upright. We're just gonna do that one more time. Clasping behind the back, find the little brick. Oh, it's pulling you back and down. Let go. Breathe. I have to turn my fan on. It just got really hot. Okay, yoga friends, we are going to do some more sun salutations into lunges this time to work on stretching and opening our hip flexors. I'm going to face the opposite side of my mat just for a different view. So we're standing, feet, heels under hips. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands, send the feet back. Take an inhale in your plank. Exhale, lower down. And this time, if you're feeling up for it, you can press into upward dog instead of cobra. And we're gonna skip child's pose here and go straight into downward dog as you exhale. We're gonna inhale and lift the right leg up. Exhale as you lower it back down into your downward dog. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, lower it down. We're going to do that just a couple of more times with each leg. Inhale, right up. Exhale, right down. Inhale, left up. Exhale, left down. This time, as we inhale the right leg up, when we exhale, we're going to bend the knee, bring it towards the chest and forward so that we've now shifted our weight into the palms of our hands. And we're going to hold that knee there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the knee so that the foot finds the ground. We're in a high lunge here. We're going to think about lifting our chest up a bit and coming onto just our fingertips, looking out and forward. Sending energy through that back leg, so thinking about the heel pressing as far backwards and down as it can. And then if you're feeling up for it, come up a little bit into your high lunge so that your body is upright. Your front knee should be over your front ankle. If it's over the toes, you've gone a little too far, bring it back. And we're going to inhale here, so you can either choose to keep your hands on your thighs, on your hips, or move with the breath. As we inhale, the arms up if you're moving your arms. Exhale, we're going to leave the right arm up and lower the left arm. Inhale, they're coming back into center, up. Exhale, lower the right arm, leave the left arm up. Inhale the right arm up. And this time as we exhale, finding that forward fold with the upper body, hands are coming back to the mat. Letting the back knee drop to the ground and untuck the toes. And again, finding space in the front body, so coming up onto the tips of the fingers if you can. And then even coming up a little bit more so that you are more upright, and finding crease in your right hip and a little bit of extension, not even a little bit, it should be a good bit if you've made it into this shape in your left hip. All right, bringing the chest back down towards that front thigh, planting the hands, tucking the toes, lifting the back knee. We're going to send ourselves back into plank. We're going to lower down as we exhale. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Same little sequence, but this time we'll start with the left leg. We inhale the left up. Exhale the left down. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale the right leg down. One more on each side. Inhale left up. Exhale left down. Right side. Inhale left up. Inhale right up, sorry. Exhale right down. Inhale the left leg up. Bend the knee. Tuck it in towards the chest and let your weight come forward into your palms. We're holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Plant that foot. We're in our high lunge here. Lifting onto the fingertips so that our chest is open. We're looking out. And then coming up to a higher lunge if you're capable of it. Hands can stay on the thigh, come to the hips, or move with the breath. As we inhale, the arms are coming up. Exhale, lead the left arm up, open the right arm to the side. Inhale, bring that right arm back up. Exhale, the left arm open. Inhale that arm up. Exhale, we're coming back to our forward high lunge fold. We're going to lower the back knee, untuck the toes. And then find ourselves a little upright, if it's possible. Just finding the stretch in those hips. And then lowering the hands back to the mat, tucking the back toes to lift the knee, sending the foot backwards so that we're in our plank, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lowering all the way down. Woo! Cobra or up dog as you inhale. And then exhale, we are going to go into a child's pose. So feel free here to either have your knees completely together so that your chest is resting on your thighs, or if you prefer, you can open the knees a bit so that there's space between your legs and your chest can reach towards the ground. So whichever feels good for you right now. We're gonna hold that for a couple of breaths. Okay, slowly start to roll up. If your knees were open wide, let's go ahead and close them so that we're sitting in this shape. We're gonna go back into a downward dog. So planting the hands on the ground to push up through tabletop and exhale into downward dog. We're gonna lift our right leg as we inhale. Exhale, same thing, tucking the knee into the chest. We're not gonna hold it this time. We're going all the way through to that high lunge. We're breathing here for a few counts. Okay, we're going to straighten the front knee so that we are in this little triangle shape. If you need, you can always bring the back leg a little bit closer, so lessen the V if it's better for your balance. We're just gonna hang out in this forward fold here, really stretching the hamstrings, especially that front leg hamstring. Okay, we're gonna transition into a standing balance here. So we're gonna bend our front knee and let our weight come forward into that front leg and the palms that are on the ground. And once we feel kind of solid and stable there, we're just gonna lift the back leg just a little bit so there's no weight on it. And find that balance as you start to roll up. So you're rolling up on one leg really hard. If you do need to put your leg down, your left leg down to do that, that's totally okay. We're gonna lift that left knee and squeeze it as close as we can towards our chest. And then let it go a little bit. And we're gonna rotate. So I'm gonna rotate myself to show you this, but we're holding on to the knee. We're gonna rotate it just a little bit so we're opening up in the hip socket here and putting the opposite hand on the hip. And then rotating that hip, the left hip, so that the knee is back in front of us. Then I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna grab onto that knee with the right hand and just gently pull it towards my right side. And then it's back to the center. I'm gonna rotate that hip open again, and this time I'm gonna find myself in tree pose. So if that is really uncomfortable for you at that high on your leg, feel free to lower it down to the calf or the ankle. And we're just gonna hold this tree pose here. Our hands can be on our hips or in prayer in front of us or in prayer behind us. Whatever works for you today. If you lose your balance, it's okay. Shake out that standing leg and find it again. We're going to transition into another standing balance here. We're going to if your leg is up at your thigh, you're just going to release the foot, cross it over, flexing the ankle to find your ankle right on the front of that other thigh. So you're making this figure 4 shape. Then we're going to bend at the knees and at the hips here. If your leg is a little bit lower, either on your calf here at the ankle, feel free to find just a little bit lower of that same shape. Whew, this is hard. Finding that deep bend in the knee of your standing leg as well as that hip. Then bring the hands into prayer pose if you haven't done so already. Think about your hips. I'm going to show you my side view here. Your hips going really far back so that you have space to find the fold here and here. And it should be stretching out the leg that is lifted here. Okay, and gently release that to come back to standing. Wow. Shake out your standing leg. I know it's tired. I know that hurt. Okay, let's get ready to do that all on the other side. We're going to step up to the front of our mats. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands, find your plank. Inhale, before you exhale to lower. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, pressing back into downward dog. We're gonna inhale the left leg up. Exhale, bend the knee, fold it through to get to your high lunge. We're just gonna hold that here for a couple of seconds. Continuing to breathe, find your deep breaths to help you through this. You're going to straighten your front knee to find this triangle pose. Bring in your back leg a little bit to help stabilize that balance. And we're just doing a forward fold, hang out here. Stretching the hamstrings of the front left leg. And also the calves of that right leg that just did so much work. All right, we're gonna bend that front leg, bring our weight forward into that foot and into the palms of the hands to release our back leg and slowly roll up so that you're standing on that left leg only. Bending the right knee and tucking it into the chest as much as you can. We're going to open that hip towards the right side and bring the left hand to the hip. And then closing that knee in towards the front again, switching your grasp so that your other hand, which is your left hand, takes a hold of it and just pulls it gently over towards the left side. Coming back to center. Opening that leg up, and again, finding your tree pose wherever it needs to be on your body. And hands wherever you'd like them to be. Continuing to breathe, All right, and we're gonna release that foot, the right foot from the thigh, keeping the ankle flexed, finding that figure four shape, bending in the standing leg at the knee and at the hip crease so that we are really sending those hips backwards and down. And the more that you're able to sort of go lower, I'm gonna hold on to the wall here as I tell you. The more that you're able to bend in your standing knee, you're giving your leg that's in the four shape a little more leverage to stretch out those glutes. So pressing into that. And slowly, gently release. Shake out your standing leg. Oh, that was hard. That was so hard. And then taking a couple of breaths, just in our mountain pose here. So finding our center on both feet again after that exploration of finding a balance on one foot or the other. Right, on your next inhale, think about lifting, expanding, reaching out. And as you exhale, you're going to roll through the spine to get to your forward fold. So we're tucking the chin to the chest and then rolling down one vertebra at a time to find our forward fold. So if you have the flexibility in your hamstrings and your hands are touching the ground right now, go ahead and heel toe your feet out a little bit so that you are in this wider position. If your forward fold, your hands are not touching the ground, you can still do that heel toe actually, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. And just continue to fold forward just as gently as you can. If you're not touching the ground, it can be helpful to just slowly ease yourself a little more forward on your hands so that you're balancing the weight between your hands and your feet. Or maybe you have really loose hamstrings and you're able to have your hands just sort of directly under your head in this forward fold here. We're just hanging out here, breathing. You can play with shifting the weight in your hips. So you can shift your left hip to the left, your right hip to the right. You can even play with bending your knees as you do that shift. Whatever feels good in your body right now. Okay, and we're gonna heel toe the feet back in a little bit, just until the heels are underneath the hip bones. Our toes are facing out just a little bit. And we're gonna bend the knees. You can place your hands on the ground if you need help supporting yourself, but we're gonna bend the knees, trying to keep the full sole of the foot on the ground, sending our hips downwards towards the ground until we find ourselves in this yogi pose. If this is not gonna work for you, you can bring yourself into this sort of frog shape so that your hands are on the ground in front of you and your heels can release and lift both ways, sort of flex at your hip and give you a little bit of a stretch in your pelvis area. So both work. Whichever is good for you, that's what you do. Okay, releasing that squat and just finding a way to get your hips onto the ground to come into our cobbler pose, also known as butterfly to little tiny baby ballerinas. So your heels, the soles of your feet are together. You can choose to bring your heels closer to your pelvic bone if you want a deeper stretch in your adductors here. Or if that's really uncomfortable, just release your feet a little more forward until you find a space that just really feels good for your body. And we're just going to rock a little bit gently from side to side, releasing any tension that you're holding in your butt cheeks. So actually, because you are my two best friends, I can say this and not feel completely gross or weird, but this shift, think about spreading your butt cheeks. Okay. Once you've got them nice and spread, you've created a nice little palette for yourself. Just fold forward just as gently as you need. So bringing the hands to the ground, you can use your fingers to walk you out forward. If you don't need the help or support of your hands, just go ahead and think about lowering your forehead to your toes. And releasing that stretch to come back up to an upright seated position. We're going to do some tilts to the side. We're going to stay in cobbler's pose if it's comfortable for you, but if it's a little bit too much, you can come into one foot in front of the other, whatever you need right now. Okay, we're inhaling and exhaling here. Just taking a couple of breaths with our elbows extended, palms reaching out to both sides. We're going to rotate the forearm of the right hand so that the palm can touch the ground. And as we inhale, we're going to reach the left hand over towards the right side. And you can bend the elbow of your right arm to get a deeper stretch here. But again, think about releasing your left hip, yeah? So if you feel any tension, like that part is lifting up, try to release it, which might mean that your tilt is not as deep, and that's okay. Continuing to breathe here, continuing to think about the open shoulder front space, just like we did with our steeple side stretches at the beginning. And then release that, let your shoulder roll forward, finding your head coming towards your front space, your back into this forward fold position, and rolling up until you're upright. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So just release. Whew. Hands to the side, to each side. Let the palm of the left hand find the ground, and as you inhale, bring the right hand up and over towards the left side. Thinking about all the things that you thought about as you were folded to the other side. Continuing to breathe here, maybe lessening your tilt if you're finding that you're gripping your hip flexors. And then release that shoulder forward so that you find yourself rounded over to the front again. And then coming up into the spine so that you were seated upright. We're going to go ahead and extend the legs, feet in front so that we find our staff pose. Keeping our ankles flexed so that our toes are facing the ceiling. And again, just finding any sort of forward fold you've got here. No pressure to be super bendy or super flexy. Just reaching as far as you can. Continuing to breathe. And then coming up out of that stretch, I have to rotate so that I'm on the right orientation of my mat here. You might have to as well, or you might already be this way. We're just gonna bend the knees to place the soles of the feet on the ground, and we're just gonna slowly lower down onto our backs, but thinking one vertebra at a time, starting at the pelvis, and then rolling all the way up the spine until your head is on the ground. Knees are bent, soles of the feet are on the ground. We're just gonna lay here for a couple of seconds and feel ourselves melt into the ground. And as you sort of surrender all of your flesh and blood and muscles downwards towards the floor, you might be able to feel the natural curves of your spine. So if your hips, the back of your butt is on the ground, you've likely got a curve in your low back, which keeps your back from touching the ground. That's a good thing. That's a natural curve in your spine, in your lumbar spine there. Your thoracic spine, which is really where your ribs connect, so thinking about the back of your ribs. That part of your spine, all the way up into your shoulder blades, is most likely connected to the ground. Then as we continue to travel up the spine, the cervical spine into the neck, there should be another curve there that's similar to the curve at your lumbar spine. So it is also not touching the ground. So these are the natural curves in our spine. If you want me to get really nerdy with kinesiology, the curves have a name. So the cervical spine curve is called a cervical lordosis. Your thoracic curve is called thoracic kyphosis. And your lumbar curve, similar to your cervical curve, is called your lumbar lordosis. Nerd. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a lift in our hips here, but instead of thinking lift the hips, we're going to actually think press into the soles of the feet. So this is going to move with our breath. We're going to inhale, press our weight into the soles of our feet so much that our hips do lift off of the ground and come into this two-legged tabletop position here. So our necks, our head is still on the ground, our shoulders are still on the ground, our hips are up. We're going to exhale and release that, lowering back down to our original shape. We're going to do that a couple of more times. Inhale, press the weight into the soles of the feet to lift the hips up. Exhale, release. Inhale, press and lift. Exhale, lower, release. Our final one here, inhale. And exhale, release. We're gonna let the knees come closer to the chest, tucking them in. So now you will find that your lumbar spine is a little more connected to the ground as your knees have come in towards your chest. And we're just gonna squeeze those knees tight, tight, tight. And we're even gonna lift the tops of the shoulders and the head so that we're thinking knees to nose here. So we're in a little ball, a tight little safe ball. And we're going to release that. Shoulders back to the mat, head is back to the mat. We're going to release our knees so that our soles of our feet are coming back to the mat. And we're again in this position that we started. And we're going to tuck the right knee into our chest again. We're going to extend the left leg so that the knee is straight, and we're going to flex at the ankle. So this is really similar to the shape that we were making when we were standing upright before we went into our tree pose balance. And we're going to do that same exploration with the hip and knee. So the hip of the right leg is going to open so that our knee is traveling towards the right side, and our front body, our chest, our shoulders are open and exposed to the ceiling. And then we're going to bring that knee back across the chest and just gently pull it towards the left shoulder. Nothing too intense yet. And we're going to bring that knee back to the center. And then we're going to bring our left leg, or bend our left knee and bring it back into the chest. So both knees are into the chest now. And we're going to do the same thing with the opposite leg. So we're going to release the right leg. We're going to keep that ankle flexed as though we're standing. Keeping the left knee tucked into the chest. We're going to open that left hip so that the knee is coming to the side and our whole front body is exposed to the ceiling. We're going to bring the knee back in front of the chest and cross it over towards the right shoulder. Then we're going to bring that knee back in towards the chest. Bring the right knee back in towards the chest to meet it. And then we're gonna find ourselves in our little happy baby pose. So our knees are gonna stay bent, but we're gonna let our hips open so that the knees also open. Our ankles are still flexed. We're gonna grab onto our big toes with our pointer and middle finger. Then we're gonna lift the feet so that the soles are facing towards the ceiling. Our knees are still bent. Our hips are super open here. And if you want, you can find a little bit of a shift from left side to right side. And we're going to leave our happy baby. We're going to kind of retrograde ourselves back. So bringing the knees back in towards the chest by closing the hips, closing at the hips. Again, we're hugging our knees tightly in towards our chest. We're going to lift the tops of our shoulder blades and our neck and our head so that our nose is coming through our knees. And we're going to release that, releasing the feet, soles of the feet back to the mat, knees are up. Our arms are going to be in a T shape to our sides, and we're going to let gravity take both of our knees over towards the right side, finding a gentle spiral in the spine because we're trying to also keep our left shoulder connected to the ground. So both knees have fallen towards the right side, but the top half of the body is still as much connected to the mat as possible. And then we're going to come back to our starting shape here with both soles of the feet on the ground. Knees are up to the ceiling. And we're just going to do the opposite twist. Let gravity pull both knees towards the left side, keeping the right shoulder on the ground to find a twist in the spine here. So both knees are to the left. Right shoulder is on the ground. Finding our shoulder blades and our shoulders as connected to the mat as possible. And unwinding ourselves so that soles of the feet are on the mat, knees are up. Couple more breaths in this shape to find those natural curves in the spine. You can bring your hands onto your chest, kind of as we started this practice, with one hand at your heart and one hand on your tummy. And again, just begin to feel your breath. Once you're feeling very connected to your breath again, you're really able to sense how your breath is moving through your chest as you inhale and exhale. Go ahead and release the feet, release the knees, so that you find yourself in this corpse pose for Savasana. Now I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you just surrender into this pose right now. So again, you're probably feeling the curvature of your spine, maybe even a little bit more intensely now that there's no bend in the knees. So continue to feel your breath radiate throughout your entire body. Just let yourself breathe in that shape. Hi. If you're still there, if you fell asleep, start to wake yourself up a little bit if you can hear me. Just gentle, tiny shifts in your hands and your wrists and your fingers. Maybe nodding your head or rotating your head from left to right. Then gently roll over onto your side into fetal position, either side you want. Then don't come up too quickly. Take your time to press up into your upward seated position. I like that you're both just doing what feels good for you right now. I see some swaying, I see some neck movement. And when you're ready, you can start to imagine that you're going to transition out of this yoga practice into the rest of your day. But that doesn't mean that you let go of everything you learned and experienced just now. You carry that with you. Whenever you're ready, you can unmute yourselves and we can say goodbye to each other.